Welcome to BizTech's Investor Conversation Show. I'm Brian Fernandez, and alongside with me, Jeffrey Halley, my co-host, we have Fabian Dori. He's the Deputy Group CEO and Chief Asset Management Officer at Sygnum. Sygnum is a global digital asset banking group that has a Swiss and Singaporean heritage. Now, they have a client base of over 1,000 institutions and assets under management of over 2 billion. Now, to tell us more, Fabian, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Now, Fabian, for a start, could you give us a brief introduction to the company and also the services that you provide?
Happy to do so, and I think you already provided so to say a very good context to it. It's interesting that the idea for Sygnum was born actually in Singapore at the FinTech Festival back in 2017. Already then, it was evident to the founders that blockchain technology, crypto assets would provide a very attractive investment case. However, they realized regulated infrastructure that provided investors with a compliant, easy-to-use, secure platform to invest in was still very much lacking. And Sygnum embarked on the idea to solve this challenge, to really bridge the gap between traditional and future finance with complete trust, meaning in a regulated, compliant, and secure way. So right from the start, as you outlined, we focused on Switzerland and Singapore as the two key markets with a strong history in the traditional financial industry, but also the willingness to come up with innovative solutions and a constructive framework for that future finance setup. So Sygnum nowadays provides a full range of crypto asset services. It ranges from institutional grade brokerage, custody, credit and lending offerings over asset management solutions to also a tokenization platform and even B2B services where we provide consultation, advisory in terms of processes, etc., but also infrastructure to other banks and to other financial intermediaries.
Wonderful, very comprehensive. If I could just cast our minds back to December. So in December 2023, last month, Sygnum released a report titled Future Finance in 2023. It was an institutional crypto market report. And could you perhaps tell our viewers a little bit more about that report?
With pleasure, yep. Sygnum really has the aim to provide investors with the right context and insights to take an educated decision when investing into crypto assets. And the Future Finance Report is part of this initiative. It's a report dedicated to measuring and analyzing the sentiments and behavior, especially of institutional and professional investors active in the crypto market. Be that right now to really get an insight on the feelings and on the situation right now, but also then over time as we have the ambition to renew the survey and the results every year. The survey was conducted shortly before the crypto rally took off in Q4 this year with more than 150 respondents. And interestingly, those respondents possess more than an average of 10-year investment experience. So they really have a broad background in the financial industry, be it from banks, from hedge funds, multi-family offices, single-family offices, but also very much so in the crypto space with participants from DLT foundations, fund managers, asset managers, and the like. Most of the respondents, around 90%, are already crypto activated, so they already have hands-on experience with investing in crypto, the processes around it, the infrastructure, challenges, etc. So they really have already experience with it. Now we at Sygnum, we wanted to take a step back, see through the eyes of those investors how the industry will evolve, not out of our perspective, but really out of the perspective of these investors. And the survey would help us understand better how they think, what they are looking at, what they are investing in, and how they would like to change their investment plans. So that is the background to the survey itself. Yep.
Now, Fabian, one of the things that's happened is also this. There's a clear trend from your report that there was a bias towards now the clear movement to regulated services providers. Now, we also just had the approval in the US of ETFs for Bitcoin. That's changed the game completely. Are you seeing this as part of a greater move than across towards more and more regulation or regulated platforms away from perhaps that perception of the crypto world as being really cowboy?
Absolutely. I think it really marks a step change, so to say, especially in the US, right? We clearly have seen, I would say, an acceleration of that path towards regulated, audited players based on the happenings in 2022. Already before that, I think the path has been clear that in order to enable mass adoption, crypto needs to fold into much more into the established processes and frameworks that govern the financial industry. But that trend has clearly accelerated with the happenings of 2022, with all the defaults and challenges that we have seen there. Now, there have been jurisdictions such as Singapore, such as Switzerland, who have, I would say, provided clear guidance on how such a process can evolve and what institutions need to fulfill in order to be able to provide regulated crypto assets and so on. And we see, based now also among things such as the ETF approval, the spot ETF approval in the US, that other jurisdictions are following up, right? We have seen MiCA realizing in Europe, there are initiatives in the UK. So it very much goes into that direction of crypto being part of the crypto services being ever more part of a regulated, audited environment. No.
Now, if we take put the crypto ETS launch this week aside, Fabian, looking through Sygnum's website, you actually do offer a number of different products that are not purely what I would describe as trading crypto generated, so to speak. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you see institutional investors approaching the crypto space? What strategies are they using and how they may be perceived as being different to classical trading as we know it?
Mm-hmm. Now, that's a good question. I would say the key part remains for the time being on what you outlined, namely the need to have a regulated, audited, stable, secure player who helps to custodize and facilitate transactions. So that's key. That's still very much a key part. But we see that additional services, additional value-add services are ever more important. So, for example, the whole credit and lending business, being it, so to say, more in a traditional sense that people would like to use their existing crypto assets as a collateral and then take out a Lombard loan. But also very innovative approaches here, for example, crypto or Bitcoin miners requesting a loan in order to facilitate and finance the further expansion of their business, where we as Sygnum are able to accept hash rate as a collateral, so computing power as a collateral to then underscore a loan. So that is clearly a very important part as well, credit and lending. Then, of course, very much so the maybe more DLT native thing of tokenization. So we see that even though I would say tokenization per se has not taken off as quickly as we at Sygnum also expected, the trend is clearly going towards additional underlyings being tokenized, being easier to trade and so on. So tokenization is something that we see a clear pickup in demand. And then, of course, also on the asset management side, in terms of what investment strategies can you access when investing into crypto assets? And I think that's an interesting part because so far the focus is still on market participation, on beta exposure, very much related to the largest tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and the likes. But we like to say that crypto assets not only span an asset class, they span an asset universe. you have the ability to, beyond taking pure market exposure in a beta sense, you can also access crypto yields with relatively low market volatility, with relatively low market risk. There are then other risks such as technology risk and so on, but you have a yield market, so to say, that you can access. You obviously have an alpha market with hedge fund strategies and so on. There is also a very vibrant VC space in the crypto area. So investment opportunities in the crypto space go far beyond in market exposure, beta exposure, and we clearly see that every time the market performs positively, that demand for a broader diversification in the overall market that grows. Yeah.
Now, Fabian, that's fascinating. You've touched on quite a few things that we could probably talk about for the next 1 hour. And we need to
We'll have to get
probably
him
have
back.
separate shows on some of these, each of these.
Exactly, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
But Fabian, in the interest of time, and we are running out of time, as we start 2024, what are 3 things that investors should be looking for in 2024 through your lens?
Yep. Yeah, that's a very good question. And that I would relate it very much to the questions that you asked before. First of all, of course, the ETF approval you mentioned, right? It will be very interesting to see what funds those ETFs now really attract, because it's an indicator of the institutional adoption advancing. The expectation is quite large, right? That there are significant funds coming in. It will be interesting to see whether that materializes. And it's again, I would say it's a metrics to follow and measure institutional adoption. So I would keep a close eye on the fund flows into ETFs. Second, the regulatory environment. I think a constructive regulatory framework that gives clear guidance on what are allowed services, but that is also embracing the innovative potential of blockchain and so on, that is necessary. And here I think right now, Asia is a little bit taking the lead there with Hong Kong, with Singapore and so on. So keep a close eye on what's happening on the regulatory side with a very high focus on Asia. And last but not least, keep an eye on how the crypto asset ecosystem is evolving beyond Bitcoin, beyond Ether, with the additional use cases, again, attracting adoption, be that Web3 infrastructure in light of the artificial intelligence topics, be that real-world asset tokenization, be it liquid staking. So keep an eye on how the crypto asset ecosystem is maturing beyond the already established tokens.
Absolutely fascinating.
Now, Jeff, before we go, any final questions for Fabian?
No, I just wanted to say it's actually very refreshing to hear all these ideas from Fabian, because in the mainstream media we tend to be very focused on rallies and slumps and crimes and use cases for the digital asset space. But when we talk to people such as yourself, it's very interesting to hear all of the very fascinating things that digital currencies can be potentially used for.
Now, Fabian, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Yep.
Now, we've been speaking to Fabian Dori. He's the Deputy Group CEO and Chief Asset Management Officer at Sygnum. I'm Brian Fernandez.
And I'm Jeffrey Halley.
And you've been watching and listening to BizTech's Investor Conversation Show. The show will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our syndication partners, TV stations or radio stations and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.